All right. Sure want me to start? No. Hi. That's what I thought as well. Are the members speaking?
Just
Making sure.
Because we have to get to work. Am I starting? Beautiful. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, the Council's Land Use Committees voted to approve a comprehensive housing plan for the city to modify city planning zoning for housing opportunities, citywide text amendments, with $5 billion in commitments to the Council's City for All housing plan and investments in neighborhoods. In October, the Council held 2 public meetings of almost 20 hours on the Zoning for Housing Opportunity text amendment, where we heard from New Yorkers of diverse backgrounds and concerns on the amendment and the challenges they face day to day because of the housing crisis. What was made abundantly clear is that while zoning reform is one important component, it alone cannot fully address the wide-ranging housing needs of New Yorkers. We heard from New Yorkers who are struggling to secure affordable homes, are facing community infrastructure challenges, need more tenant protections, and for city agencies to step up their inspection and enforcement, and need support towards home ownership to build their legacy here in New York City. The Council acknowledged these concerns and responded with City for All, a comprehensive plan to address the various housing challenges affecting New Yorkers. This plan reflects the voices of New Yorkers across the city who made clear these are intersecting struggles that require multifaceted solutions. The plan and modified zoning changes are estimated to create over 80,000 new homes over 15 years, while helping to strengthen neighborhoods and make housing more affordable. It shows the city can create a meaningful amount of new housing through the contributions of every community, while respecting neighborhood character and delivering necessary investments in infrastructure, affordable housing, and homeownership. This is the most pro-housing plan in New York City history, including the first citywide zoning text amendment designed to create new homes in major City for All investments. It is estimated that it will surpass the production of new housing from city-initiated planning actions during 8 years of the de Blasio administration and 12 years of the Bloomberg administration, respectively. For comparison, the city-initiated land use actions by the de Blasio administration resulting in approximately 32,000 units of housing. The neighborhood rezonings during the 12 years of the Bloomberg administration produced approximately 68,000 housing units. Our modification to create affordable housing in low-density areas is a historic step that brings inclusionary zoning citywide, ensuring that every neighborhood is open to affordable housing. I understand that there have been strong reactions to the initial proposal, and the Council listened to those who engaged in the public review process, offering specific input at the many hours of hearings, meetings with community boards, and written correspondence. The Council's modifications address many concerns raised by communities, balancing the distinctions between neighborhoods with the citywide need to address a shortage of affordable housing. This balance allowed for a plan that both respects neighborhood character and is still applicable across the entire city, ensuring every neighborhood contributes to producing housing that can address the city's affordability and housing crisis. During my tenure as Speaker, this Council has prioritized the need to confront the housing crisis by approving over 27,500 units of new housing through the land use process, with more than half of those being affordable housing units. Today is another step forward in our leadership, and this proposal will come before the Council at its next stated meeting, not today. I thank Chairs Riley and Salamanca for their leadership, as well as our Housing Chair Sanchez and other members who supported this major effort. I thank Department of City Planning Director Garodnick and his staff, as well as the City Hall staff members who partnered closely with my office and the Council to negotiate this agreement. I want to also thank Jeremy John, Faiza Ali, Paris Straughter, Ann McCoy, Brian Paul, William Vidal, Deborah Kersner, Chelsea Kelly, Arthur Huh, Ryan Cote, Dana Leventhal, Caroline Antonelli, and the entire Council Planning and Land Use team for their work to get us here. And finally, thank you to all of the stakeholders and community members across the city who constructively engaged to provide meaningful input that steered us towards solutions. This is a first necessary step towards securing a more affordable New York City and more homes for New Yorkers. Now we're going to dive into our stated agenda. We're finally going to get there tonight. First, we will vote on the following land use items. Brooklyn Yards will facilitate the development of 12 new residential buildings with a total of 270 housing units, of which 81 will be permanently affordable pursuant to MIH, 1 new commercial building and 1 new mixed-use building in the districts of Councilmember Zhuang and Councilmember Yeager. This application includes 7 special permits related to a large-scale general development, development within or over railroads and parking waivers, as well as a zoning map amendment and zoning text amendment. 962 through 972 Franklin Avenue rezoning will facilitate the development of a new 11-story mixed-use building with a total of 355 housing units, of which up to 107 will be permanently affordable pursuant to MIH in the Crown Heights neighborhood of Councilmember Hudson's district. Port Authority bus terminal replacement will facilitate the redevelopment of the Midtown Port Authority bus terminal in Councilmember Bottcher's district. Through this project, the Port Authority will construct a new bus terminal, a storage and staging facility, a new ramp system, and facilitate 2 private commercial office buildings to be located above the new terminal. Today, we will also vote on the following pieces of legislation. Resolution 250, sponsored by Councilmember Kevin Riley, would call on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign legislation that would require all school buses operate within the state, regardless of seating capacity, to have a stop arm on each side, and to prohibit any school buses from operating if they do not have functioning stop arms. Resolution 280, sponsored by Councilmember Farrah Lewis, would designate November 30th annually as Shirley Chisholm Day in the city of New York to recognize her contributions as an educator, activist, and elected official. Chisholm became the first Black woman ever elected to the United States House of Representatives, representing New York's 12th congressional district for 7 terms from 1969 to 1983, during which time she was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. In 1972, she became the first Black candidate to seek a major party's presidential nomination and the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's nomination. Introduction 436A, sponsored by Councilmember Pirina Sanchez, would update the New York City Electrical Code by adopting the standards of the 2020 National Code with certain amendments based on unique conditions within the city. It would also incorporate the NYC Electrical Code into the city's construction codes to better align the requirements for electricians with those for other trades licensed by the Department of Buildings. Introduction 515A, sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would improve existing Department of Education reporting on the number of school bus transportation employees to include the type of training employees have completed, including training specific to supporting students with disabilities, employee route assignments, general or special education, and whether these employees accompany students on school bus routes. Introduction 1018A, also sponsored by Councilmember Brannan, would conform the city's pet shop laws to state law, amending the local law to prohibit the sale of dogs and cats in pet shops. On December 15, 2024, New York State law prohibiting the sale of dogs and cats in retail pet shops will take effect. Introduction 557B, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would require the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation to create a specific 311 category for complaints related to unlicensed cannabis retailers. The public would be able to file a complaint under the category of unlicensed cannabis retailer on its website, mobile device platforms, and any other platform utilized by 311. Introduction 981A, sponsored by Councilmember Brewer, would update existing reporting related to the city's inspection and enforcement of unlicensed sellers of cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, tobacco products, and illicit cannabis. Specifically, the legislation would incorporate new reporting relating to the expanded local authority to conduct inspections and enforcement of state cannabis law and provide increased details of on the outcomes of each inspection conducted by city agencies. Introduction 1070A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, would amend the current reporting requirements on exits from domestic violence shelters, which currently only includes information about domestic violence emergency shelter exits, to additionally require reporting on domestic violence Tier 2 shelter exits. Introduction 1071A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Ayala, would amend the existing reporting requirements regarding applications for multi-agency emergency housing assistance to additionally including reporting on referrals to HRA domestic violence shelters disaggregated by household type and source of referral. This bill would also require reporting on transfers between city-administered facility systems and exits from HRA-administered domestic violence shelters, including domestic violence emergency shelters and domestic violence Tier 2 shelters. Lastly, we will vote on a couple of bills included in the Aging in Place 2.0 legislative package, which aims to combat some of the most pressing issues facing older adults. The Council has already passed two of the package's bills, Introduction 228 and Introduction 689, into law. Introduction 1025A, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would require the New York City Department for the Aging to provide information in paper form regarding the older adult workforce programs administered by DFTA to all contracted older adult centers and clients of all contracted providers. This bill would also require that DFTA update its existing Know Your Rights pamphlet for older adults to include information and resources regarding employment opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and workforce program opportunities. The pamphlet would also include information to assist older adults in identifying and addressing employment discrimination, as well as contact information for government agencies or community-based organizations that an older adult may contact to obtain additional information about issues regarding employment discrimination. And Introduction 1053A, also sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would require DFTA to conduct a feasibility study regarding the creation of older adult information points, which would serve as physical locations where older adults can receive information concerning DFTA services and programming. This concludes our stated agenda. With that, we're going to take a couple of questions.
Yes, in the interest of time, we're going to do on and off topic at the same time. So we will take questions. Michelle.
Hi, Speaker Adams.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
So first, I wanted to ask about City of Yes. Mayor Adams just now held a gaggle, and he said that the two of you personally did not speak about City of Yes today. Could you just give us a sense of how many times the two of you did speak over the last several weeks about City of Yes? And if you did speak about City of Yes, could you just tell us what you guys talked about? And then I have another question about the budget modification. Should I just fire it away?
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
do them all.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Budget modifications, that were announced yesterday, what do you like? Where do you think they fell short?
Okay, as far as the communication between the mayor and I, he's right, we have not spoken today. During the overall process, my team and I worked well with the Department of City Planning and City Hall housing staff, and we were able to partner to get it done today. As far as the modifications are concerned, we worked very, very hard to listen to the voices that we heard in a record hearing from our communities across the city. We believe that we struck the correct balance to make sure that the voices were heard. And we are very, very proud that we remained ambitious through the whole process, and we will, through City for All, incorporated into the mayor's proposal, we will be able to bring over 80,000 places for people to live in New York City.
The budget mods. Did you want that was your other question? Yes.
Say the question again.
Maybe, do you want to repeat it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought that was what you said.
I'm sorry about that. What did you like about the budget modifications that were announced yesterday? Where did they fall short?
We've been negotiating the budget mods across the board, so all of the budget mods, I'm in favor of all of the budget mods, the way that they were handled. The specific sticking points for a lot of communities having to do with ADUs and parking modifications, and a lot of other things. I am particularly happy, though, that we were able to secure $5 billion overall for affordable housing and housing for people that need places to live in New York.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I'm wondering if you spoke to Hochul personally this past day about negotiations.
The governor? Yes, that's what I call her. Yes, I have spoken to the governor. I spoke with the governor this morning, actually.
And what were those
Well, general conversations, have a great day. We know, what you're doing, some of the challenges that you face, going through this negotiation, wishing you well, that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Regarding City of Yes,
Mhm.
can you articulate particulars of what changed from the initial proposal? And also discuss why you changed, what the particulars were that were changed on parking and ADUs?
Sure. I'll try to get as granular as I can because they were significant. Again, our goal was to advance this proposal to build more housing in every part of the city, and that required balancing and respect for neighborhoods and the character of the neighborhoods with that goal. So our modifications were aimed at ensuring a proposal that could pass with the maximum amount of housing created. As far as the parking is concerned, the council's modification establishes 3 zones to strike a balance between housing development and the need for parking in some parts of the city. It still creates the most populous parking mandate-free area in the country, nearly triple the size of Austin, which is currently the largest city in the United States to eliminate parking. The parking mandates are maintained in areas that would likely produce that level of parking to meet market demand regardless. And the forms of housing development that parking would most interfere with will be largely exempt from the mandates regardless of the zone. As far as the ADUs are concerned, we took a look at structuring of ADUs, external ADUs and internal ADUs, and we made some modifications with those. We will give you the specifics at another time, more than likely at the time when the council comes together to take the full vote.
If I can just follow up, are you sad that there's 30,000 fewer houses, units that are going to be built than have initially been proposed?
That's a
80 versus 109?
That's a great question. This proposal did not have to get past the front door of the city council. We took this proposal on ambitiously, and we took it on courageously, in my opinion. We were able to do through City of All something that's never been done before, and once again, that's securing $5 billion in making sure that we address the deep affordability issue of housing, and in taking a look at more than 80,000 homes. That is truly, truly significant, and we are very, very proud of that accomplishment.
Streetball?
Yes.
Hi.
So I know the plan is, it can produce 80,000 more units in the next 15 years, but what about the location of those new units? It seems like the parking mandate zones and the modifications to ADUs, town center, and transit-oriented development sort of continue the pattern of less housing being built in low-density districts than the rest of the city. What do you say to that? And wasn't the initial plan supposed to sort of like spread the love of building housing throughout the city?
And I think it still does. The modifications prove that. But we had to be realistic about this. What we learned through our hearing, again, it was a monumental hearing. What we learned through that, and quite frankly, what we knew, we represent 51 very different districts. We are not a monolith in New York City. So what we had to do was there had to be compromise. That's what negotiation is. We had to work with what we had at our fingertips to work with, and we had to leverage that for our diverse communities. We heard from community boards. We heard from civic centers. We knew that everybody was not going to be happy. Nobody ever is totally happy with any type of negotiation, be it proposals, the city budget, modifications, or anything else. But we believe that we did our absolute best in making the considerations for all of the communities that were concerned that they would be tremendously impacted. We took a lot of that pressure off of those communities, and quite frankly, everybody's got a little piece to give. That's what we said initially. We've always said that, and that is what this council is going to deliver.
And I just have one follow-up. When you say the ADUs, town center, and transit-oriented development are largely exempt from parking mandates, can you go into a little more detail about that? When are they not exempt from parking?
Again, the same is, we're going to provide you more details as far as those specifics, more than likely when we go ahead for the full vote over the next couple of weeks.
So in December?
We'll give you more granular explanation. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right.
If I could just ask a general question, just real quick, the vacancy rate's 1.4%.
Mhm.
Is it known what this will bring the vacancy rate to?
Do we have that? Land use?
I don't know.
As
if
far
it's
as,
known.
as far as the vacancy rate is concerned?
Is there a goal that you want to?
Yeah, it would be speculative at this point, and again, that's something that we can look for.